Everyone, this is Brad Matheny. Today is the 17th of January, end of the week, right before the inauguration. Markets look like they're moving up fairly strong this morning. SPY cycle patterns came in a little bit mixed. We had a gap up higher in counter trend. I was talking to people yesterday about how I thought this was going to move into a gap down lower, kind of an inverted pattern, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. It's aligning more closely with the cycle rally phase here, moving into this peak around the 18th and 20th. So, and we've just moved into accumulation on the data after the momentum rally that didn't show up yesterday. So, quite possibly we could be a little shifted because of the extra holiday here. Remember, we had that holiday last week on the 9th, responding to Jimmy Carter's passing. So there's a pretty good chance we could be off by just one day here, meaning that, we could be looking at either a momentum rally or some sort of a carryover mode. But right now, the markets do look higher. And we're getting, pretty much across the board type rally. So, 590, 564, maybe a little bit higher. We have some news coming this morning. I'm kind of looking for that 598, 597 level prior to the inauguration. So we'll see if we get there. Overall, should be a fairly strong open. Now, the QQQ is moving again higher, 519 slightly. 1.27 is a pretty good move. You can see that big breakdown yesterday on lower volume. So something I kind of want to point out here is you can see how we came off this base. We had volume accumulation down here. So take a look at this. So we roll over here. We come off this correction after the election. You can see we've got fairly heavy volume accumulating through this base rally. Then we get into kind of lower momentum rally into this peak. Well, this peak is this big shift, this cataclysmic kind of a debt credit shift right here. As we roll into this wild lower volume, you can see as we've rolled in here, I think that I would call this accumulation. You can see how we've gotten lower and really accumulated. Now we need to see some real volume to the upside. So what I'm looking for is some sort of a volume increase move trending all the way up into here, meaning that we're getting some real solid accumulation. I don't think that's going to happen until after we get past the inauguration. So in reality, folks, here, what I'm looking for is if we're going to see some real volume appreciation in the markets, it's going to come pretty much after the inauguration. And in my opinion, it's going to come in the form of, a continued push higher after the inauguration. So we'll see if that happens. We're at this upper level. We're at this upper channel. We could see this be a gap up in the early morning, rolling a bit lower into the end of the day. We could see it carry over a bit higher. Again, because of the mixed triggers here, I'm getting a gap up higher trigger, which in counter trend, I think would be a gap down lower. We're not getting that gap down pattern yet. We're getting some pre-market data that's fairly strong. We're moving into that 19th, 20th peaking pattern over here. So again, and above this channel, I would say that we're probably getting close to breaking down the services over here to determine where we're at, meaning that we could see some sort of a rally here and then some big pullback, kind of like this. Kind of like this coming up and then pulling back. So be aware. It may be we might be just peaking out in here to see if we can hold at this level before we roll back down. Okay, gold and silver. Gold made a big move last couple of days, up from 2660, 2670 up to 2560 almost, or 2760. Really big move. and blew right past my level. Silver made it right to the level that I expected, 31.75, 31.78. Down again this morning. Silver's moving down. Gold had moved down, started to move up. I'd like to see gold and silver, really, let me come over here, really make a breakaway move. That's me personally. I think that, this whole sideways consolidation thing is getting, I don't want to say difficult, but it's, you can see how we're moving up through this channel. We've reached this high, we turn back around. It looks like silver is being heavily manipulated. We've reached this level here. I think that this is the next level that we're going to try to hold for gold. And again, I'd kind of like to see silver try to hold at this level. So be aware that in reality, folks, metals should be rebounding and moving higher, especially as it relates to hedging against global fear. The Trump inauguration, we might get a little bit of a blip here next week. But again, I really think that gold is trying to move up above 2,800, up into the $3,000 area. And I think silver is trying to move up into the $36, $38 area, maybe 40. So it's getting rid of a lot of these unexpected or unknowns related to Trump and the inauguration and the global economy. And then lastly, we'll come back over here. We'll look at Bitcoin. Come back to here. Bitcoin is at 102, really outside of that channel range. This could be another indication that the markets could do just like this, really outside that channel range, coming into the Trump inauguration. So let me not mark this over here. The inauguration is going to take place, I believe, on the 20th or 21st. And, we could get a pretty solid rally trying to take out upper levels up here in Bitcoin. We have continued to reject off of these lows, even just last Monday. Nice big rejection off of this low. You can see we're breaking through this channel. We do have to watch, this upper level up here. This green level way up here is our upper channel. Get rid of that. Not sure what that is. And remember, we would also be watching this level, which is the 102,700 level. So we're kind of right at that level right now, kind of rejecting. We'll see how it plays out here. I mean, I think there's a lot of optimism in the market. I think there's a lot of relief that we're moving to a new year, 2025, and new opportunities. We'll see how the market plays out here, see if there's any surprise events over the next 4 or 5 days. But generally, things right now look like they're gonna, if I were to give you, as my friend says, gun against the head, trying to figure out what's going to happen here. Honestly, I think that we're going to stay probably within this range, as you can see here, kind of within this range before we attempt to move out. And I think that's a fairly common expectation through early 2025. I think that we are going to be struggling through a new Trump presidency, especially with policy and expectations. So be aware that, we could very easily move into a sideways channeling type of phase here, somewhere between 80,000 and call it 105,000. Now, Bitcoin wants to try to rally. It really does. But again, the reality is Bitcoin has got to kind of clear its own way to move forward. And this whole election time frame, you've seen the big rally after the election and now the consolidation. It's a matter of where's the meat. I get the bones, no problem, but where's the meat on the bone? Let's see it happen. And that's kind of the same thing that's going on over here with the SPY. I mean, in reality, like I said, you can see my longer term expectations here, I expect really the markets to be moving into this broad sideways channel through the first half of 2025. And I think that's going to be a big issue for traders. I think they're going to be struggling to try to figure out how to make this work. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Talk to you later.